Hello, and welcome to the Divorced Dadvocate, divorce support for dads, where we help dads create a healthy and less traumatic divorce. My name is Jude Sandoval, and I'm your host. I created this podcast and the Divorced Advocate community as a result of my own high conflict divorce, and because you as a dad deserve all the resources necessary to thrive through this challenging time. I encourage you to check out our website at thedivorcedadvocate.com, where there are resources that correspond to this episode, as well as free access to our membership community, where you will find live meetings, free workshops and courses, private discussion groups, and more. And now, on to this week's episode. Hello, and welcome to the Divorced Dadvocate, where we help dads navigate through life during and after divorce in order to create an amazing life for themselves and their children. I'm Jude Sandoval, and I am your host. Thank you for listening in today. We've got a topic that came up this morning and this week, and that is, where have all of my friends gone? Question mark. Before we get into that, though, I wanted to briefly thank everybody who responded to my request last show for some market research around the online course that I'm creating. I got a lot of great feedback, and I hope in the next couple of weeks to be able to have that put together and out there for you and for you to take advantage of. So again, thanks everybody who responded. If you would still like to respond, I could definitely use some more market research. Just put a note in the show notes below, or contact me directly at Jude at thedivorcedadvocate.com, or send me a phone, or give me a call, or send me a text on my cell at 720-255 1021. Also, want to keep that out there that if you have any reason at all to need to talk to somebody, get on the website at thedivorcedadvocate.com and just book. It says book a call, book a brief call with me. Let's talk. It's out there. It's free for you to utilize. So we've had a huge response to the group meetings every other week. We're going to be adding some more group meetings as well. That link is below also, so click on that. We had a great session this morning. So please take advantage of all these opportunities and places to connect with the other dads that are going through or have experienced divorce. This morning it was awesome. We had a group that was with men that have just started the process, as well as men that have been down the road 8, 9, 10 years. The age range was anywhere from, I think, late 20s all the way up into the 60s. So we had a phenomenal discussion with a lot of insight from a lot of different perspectives from a lot of men that are at different places, different ages, different demographics. So I highly, highly encourage you to jump on at the very least. It's free, it's absolutely free. It's a great place for some support and to bounce things off of different men. We talked about what we're going to talk about now, which is, where have all my friends gone? We also talked about parenting skills and different parenting philosophies. And then we talked also this morning about dealing with parental alienation and teenagers and kind of how we deal with that. So it was a phenomenal discussion, and would welcome having some more people on the calls and on the at the meetings with us every week. So again, you can find those in the show notes. Or connect with me directly at thedivorcedadvocate.com. So this is going to be a little bit short and sweet, primarily because of the fact that we're getting some beautiful snowy weather here in Denver, Colorado, and I am anxious because we have not had any snow all winter here to get out with my daughters and go do a little bit of sledding today. So we're gonna keep it short. We're gonna keep it sweet, but we'll talk about something that's really really important, and that is dealing with the issue around how to talk to what happens with your friends when you're going through this divorce process and post divorce. It seems like it's very challenging. It's very difficult. We're going through all kinds of chaotic feelings and emotions during this process. And we really like to think and like to know that we have friends that are there for us. Now, I've mentioned lots of times I had one really good friend that was there for me, and bless him, because it was really one of the major things that helped me get through it. But I can also say that about 95% of the rest of my friends, whether those are family members, friends, or friends, pretty much weren't there and went by the wayside post-divorce, which isn't all too uncommon. So how do you deal with this? Because these are people that have been in your life. You've got some emotional feelings and bonds to them, but now this divorce has popped up. Maybe you have an ex that is bad-mouthing you or is trying to get people to pick sides, and that's a real big challenge. And so the first thing I would say is try to stop and take just kind of a perspective of where would your friends be, or where would you put yourself in their shoes as to how comfortable would you feel in this process. And I know that during mine, it was, I reached out to some people, and that's one of the things I'm going to talk about next, which is reach out and really just share how you feel. And it could be as simple as, hey, I'd like to reconnect, or I'd like to really share with you how I'm feeling or what's going on now, or maybe post divorce, so that we can continue our friendship. And one of the things that one of the fellows mentioned this morning that was a fantastic advice was to do this. And it really brought up some emotions for me, because I did this with several friends during my divorce process. And I heard crickets from several of them. And what I realized this morning when he brought that up and I started feeling some emotions about it was that kind of shut me down to doing that with more of my friends through the divorce process, but also after the process as well, which I don't feel is healthy. So it's one of the things that I'm going to take a look at and see, maybe there's some friendships that I need to go back and revisit and say, hey, it's been some time now and I really valued our friendship and I'd like to reconnect and talk to you. And if you have questions about what happened with the divorce, if it was a friend that was a divorce, or just during that time period, or why I may not have been responsive, let's please talk about that. So it's good to share your feelings, but also put yourself into the shoes of the friend or family member. And what that is going to do is really allow you to be true to what your feelings are, what your needs are, and then put it into their court, put the ball into their court, so to speak, and give them the opportunity then to make the decision. We can't control what they're going to think. We can't control what is being told to them. We can't control anything or their comfort level or anything else. And that's the other thing is it's very uncomfortable. I've had now since many friends get divorced, and it's difficult and it's uncomfortable because it's not something that we go through ourselves as a divorce, but it's also not something we go through a lot with a ton of people and friends that, how do you handle it? There's no really set way to handle it. So the best thing we can do is just be open about our feelings, what our needs are, and then put it into their court. And that is going to be, and this really, it comes down to potentially a test as to what kind of friend that person is or family member that person is in how they respond to you sharing what your feelings are and what your needs are will really demonstrate to you the quality of your relationship, the quality of the person, and potentially whether or not you want to decide. And maybe you won't make this decision. Maybe you'll hear crickets like I did, right? Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It hurt at the time, right? But looking back now and assessing some of those relationships, I think, well, that's probably good. This person was in my life for a certain time. And just like anything, there's a time frame really that runs its course. And this friendship was in my life for a certain period of time, and then it stopped, and that was good. And so, maybe that's just what it is, or based upon how they respond, maybe it is an opportunity for you to make that determination as to whether it's a quality friendship or a family member, somebody that you, or a relationship, let's just call it relationship in general, that you want to continue to have in your life. Because again, these are all opportunities. If we can reframe that perspective in our minds, that it's an opportunity for us to assess so much, not only ourselves and all our behaviors, but also our friendships, our relationships, and whether those are healthy relationships or whether those are relationships that we want in our lives. So, but just know and just be prepared that there is a high probability that many of these relationships will potentially just fall by the wayside. And we don't have any control of that. But I want to leave you with this. I told you it was going to be short and sweet, right? That I promise you that more relationships will come into your life if you're conscious and you're aware of the quality of the relationships. And if you share what your feelings are and what your needs are, the new relationships based upon your ability and your self-awareness are going to be so much more enriching in your life. They will enhance your life, and there will be better quality for your life. So that doesn't mean that you might not need or want to grieve over the loss of some of these relationships, just like you might be doing with your romantic relationship or with your ex or soon to be ex. But know that they can be better, and they will be better dependent upon how you handle it. So again, it's an opportunity, just like all of this can be, and this whole the entire process can be an opportunity for you to be self-aware, self-assess things, and move your life in a better and more fulfilling road and path for yourself. So that's all I got this week, short and sweet. And I hope that this helps. I appreciate any feedback. If you found this to be helpful, please leave some show notes. Again, liking the page, sharing this on social media, giving comments, if whatever platform you may be listening on, if you could leave a little review, that's incredibly helpful as well. And getting out the word, we're growing this show. It's growing every single week, which is so gratifying. We're having more men show up to the community, dad's divorce groups. I'm getting more calls. I'm getting more people to the website. We'll have our resources page up as well with some of our partners that are helping too. And so just keep the momentum going. And thanks so much for all of your support. And I appreciate you. Keep up the good work. I'm proud of you, and talk to you next week. To hear the rest of this episode and access the corresponding resources, visit thedivorcedadvocate.com and become a member of our community. It's free to join and will provide you with the resources you deserve as a divorced or divorcing dad. Thank you for listening. God bless, and I'll talk with you next week.